taken down my steering wheel yet, so it's just sat in the way. So it might be in shop for this one.
Well,
all good fun.
You can start
all good fun.
Steering us through the podcast.
Hey, that's the intro sorted. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 231 of your favourite Formula 1 show there. Jamie kicking us off with a fantastic pun. It's been a little while. How are we doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's like the hottest week of the year, so I'm loving it. I was at the beach on Tuesday.
Far.
Went to watch Star Wars last night, and life's good.
Wait, you went to the beach on a Tuesday?
Yeah, I did.
What in the unemployed are you?
What?
It wasn't even that warm Tuesday, I swear.
It was lovely. It was 25 up here. I don't know what it was down there, but yeah, got in the car, hour and a half, Formby Beach, lovely.
Wow. Are there no beaches closer than an hour and a half away?
Not really. I'm about as far from the coast as you can be in the UK.
I wouldn't say Manchester is as far from the coast as it can be, but there we are. But anyway, talking about beaches, Jamie, we're back in Miami this weekend.
We are.
Finally,
Great segue.
F1's back. Thank you. We're doing well with those. We're going to try and improve on the segues for the rest of the year. But Miami this weekend, of course, arguably, I'd say it's in the top 5 worst races of the year. We've got too many American Grand Prix. There's too much kind of American sport attributes to it, and it's a terrible race circuit in a terrible place. Are we hyped for the weekend?
Yeah, why not? I'm always up for F1. It's not a great track, as you say. It's not a great event, but it's cars going in circles, so I'm here for it.
Fair enough. As long as they're Formula 1 cars in your case.
Exactly.
Yeah. I must admit, the saving grace I feel personally for Miami is the fact it's in the evening, so you get to watch it and then go straight to bed and then forget that it happened.
I can say what your priorities are.
Exactly. And it's a sprint weekend as well, of course, so we got action all weekend.
That's made me less hyped, to be honest.
Really? I mean, it's a terrible track for a sprint, isn't it?
I'm just not that bothered about sprint racing at all. Like, I probably will watch them. When are they on?
So Friday night qualifying is Friday night qualifying is, I believe, 9:30.
9:30 for sprint quality, that is.
Yeah, sprint race is at 5 p.m, so I'm going to miss that and have to watch it on catch up. Qualifying is at 10 or 9?
9 p.m.
And then
Saturday.
The race is at 9 p.m. Sunday.
Okay, so they're all really sociable hours, which is nice, apart from 9 o'clock on Sunday night, but I'll be watching that on my own at home.
Exactly. Let's spoken like a true loner from
exactly.
G183.
True F1
fan. Our resident loner in the group. Well, let's think about it, though. So, obviously, we've had a few little bits of information. I mean, it has been a very, very slow news couple of weeks. Jamie and I said pre-show we were happy we didn't do an episode earlier on in the week.
Yes.
Because there has been next to nothing to talk about, apart from some new liveries. But we're not going to talk about those first. We're going to talk about George Russell? Yep, that's the right name. And Max Verstappen. Apparently, there could be a driver swap on the cards. Not mid-season or anything, but come the end of the year.
Yeah, and silly season is a little bit dead this year, which we kind of knew would be the case because how mental last year was, really, with obviously Hamilton throwing a nuke into it early doors. But the main one seems to be all this kind of conjecture, I will put it, gossip, to put it another way, around Max Verstappen. Because, yeah, obviously he's driving for Red Bull at the moment. Red Bull is a bit up and down, to say the least, in the first 5 races. They kind of flip-flop between sometimes second fastest, sometimes fifth. So
sometimes fastest.
Well, have they been fastest?
It's
only with him at the wheel. That was the difference maker there. But regardless, he has a clause in his contract which runs until 2028 usually. But I think it kicks in every year. But it actually matters this year that if he is not in the top 2 in the drivers' championship come the summer break, then he has an exit strategy. And to be honest, he could be in the top 2, but the way the season started, if Norris picks his act up, then he won't be in the top 2.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one, hasn't it? Because, of course, like you said, he chalked up that victory, obviously, in Japan earlier on, and that kind of helped him out. But it's also felt like, obviously, I guess Bahrain was probably easily his weakest race so far, wasn't it? just could not get to grips with that car that weekend. That's what Max Verstappen actually looks like when he's got the fifth fastest car, for all of you I see on Twitter. But you kind of think, obviously, Oscar ended up having a disaster in Australia. He recovered to ninth? Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
Ninth place in the end. Obviously, Lando's had a couple of disappointing races as well. So it's kind of almost like Max has had not even the lowest low of the three so far, and he's already down to third. And I'm not sitting here going, he should be in the top two, because he shouldn't. Lando and Oscar should be ahead of him.
To be honest,
pretty much throughout the
Max
entirety
should be
of the season.
chilling with George in fourth, if you ask me.
But he's not far ahead of George, though, is he? Mercedes struggled a bit more
points.
in Jeddah. Yeah, Mercedes struggled a bit more in Jeddah.
Yeah, he's closer to the top of the championship than he is to George Russell, which is quite telling.
Yeah, but only by 2 points,
Yes.
which I think, again, is both he and George. The fact that they're both a race wins margin at least ahead of anybody else so far goes to show just how well both of them have been doing at maximising results. Exactly. They both had 3 podiums so far this year in 5 races, which is pretty wild as well. So, it's kind of that thing of, he's only 2 points behind Lando. That could easily just be a couple of races that shift around. I mean, we've heard about it before, haven't we? There's always been rumours. I think the big one we remember was Sebastian Vettel in 2014 of, could we end up in a scenario where Lando Norris throws away... I guess he can't really, can he? But throws away a couple of points here and there to force Max into staying with Red Bull. That would be quite funny.
There's no chance he does that. That would be stupid. That's like purely out of F1 video games. That kind of strategy. There is no way that a competitive sportsman who's devoted his whole career to winning the F1 World Championship would start throwing points away to screw over a rival and just lose to a different rival, because he's not good enough. I think if he was 200 points ahead of Piastri, fair play. Maybe you race fix and lift off the gas a bit early.
Get Flavio Briatore in.
When he's not even going to beat Piastri as it stands, he can't be affording to play games with Verstappen to lock him into Red Bull.
No, exactly. And he wouldn't, it cannot
be honest,
be where Lando's focus is.
The other way round wouldn't surprise me more. Like, if Max was, I don't know, say we get to, what's the race before summer break? Hungary, is it?
Belgium.
Belgium, of course. That's stupid. Say they're level on points, for instance, Norris and Verstappen for second in the championship.
Yeah,
and Max is defending from Lando with a few laps to go. I think Max would go a little bit easy to be like, well, if I lose out 3 points here, then I can leave Red Bull at the end of the season.
Yeah, it is wild, isn't it, when you think kind of... Because, I mean, let's be fair, people always said that. It was actually the fact Seb couldn't drive the hybrid cars very well and just never got used to them.
He was rubbish.
He didn't deliberately throw to try to get that dream move to Ferrari. He was just awful when the V6s kicked in. Or, I say awful, there's nowhere near as he was in the V8 era. But... I mean, for Verstappen, though, again, all the talks at the moment are a swap from Red Bull to Mercedes and George Russell going the other way. Apparently, Russell has already been in talks with Red Bull. I cannot imagine a world where George Russell is in a Red Bull. It seems so weird to kind of think about. It does seem
super weird, yeah. Because I like Russell, I do, and I think he's a very good driver, but Red Bull don't hire their superstar driver from outside. They never really have. Like, since David Coulthard was the lead driver at that team, which is a long time ago. Like,
at the start?
Yeah, at the very beginning. So since then, they've basically just had Vettel, briefly Ricciardo, and then Verstappen. And that's kind of
which have all come up through their own ranks.
Yeah, so it just seems a bit wild to me that there would be a complete departure from their model. But to be honest, they've not got that lead driver in the wings at the moment. So if Verstappen does leave, they probably would have to hire from elsewhere.
Yeah, and this is the weird thing, isn't it, of course, of, on the one hand you say that, they've never really done it like this, but on the other hand, what Red Bull's always done is not working at the moment. They have... Yeah. Verstappen is still, as we've both said before, and how everybody knows, Verstappen is still covering over the great weaknesses in those cars at the moment. Red Bull have fallen off over the last couple of years. Like, how on earth you go from winning basically every race in 2023 to, it's completely your driver that saves you last year to you haven't really got a hope in hell. And, with all the Lawson and Tsunoda swapping and things like that apparently, Max hasn't been very happy with either. where do you kind of draw the line and start focusing again and reworking the way that your model works for a long time, but it cannot work forever.
No, it can't. But yeah, I think the problem really is that the car more than the driver strategy at the moment, because they really have not got a car capable to win a world championship. Maybe Max does win. As we get to Spain, the McLaren's nerfed. Maybe Max is then on top. But right now, if it carries on the way it is, he will not win that championship in that car. And for a team like Red Bull, who's won 4 in a row, and, what is it, 8 of the last 16, they've won 50% of championships since 2010.
Yeah.
They really should be doing better than this. But then, you say the same with Mercedes, really, don't you? But McLaren, it is their time at the moment. And that's the way it is.
I mean, let's be fair with Max as well. It is still we spoke about before. It feels like we're kind of in that era at the moment of we'll look back and go, this was the downfall of Red Bull. It was the losing Adrian Newey. It was all the controversy around Horner that apparently still can't be talked about, and everything else going on. We'll look back and go, those things... Well, I say, Newey leaving didn't seem insignificant at the time. The fact that he got a driver transfer graphic that only is ever reserved for the drivers beforehand was wild. But, he's kind of that whole... where we could genuinely be watching the downfall of Red Bull right in front of us, that we kind of all talk about and ah about. But, it could well be that we get into next year, especially with the new power units and everything like that, and if Max goes, whether that's to Mercedes, the other real possibility still is Aston Martin, depending on how Alonso feels. As I've said before, I genuinely, and I know you disagree with this, I could genuinely see him taking a sabbatical if Alonso's got a contract for next year that would guarantee him the Aston Martin even for 2027. He might well spend a year at home with his new kid and then know that he's got a seat at the table for 27. Because, a lot of drivers, you can't come out and come back in. Max is one of the few that can, a bit like Alain Prost in 93.
Yeah, I totally think he could. I just don't see it because, if the worst comes to the worst, he's driving a midfield Red Bull for a year and still nabbing.
But he doesn't want to do that.
I know he doesn't want to do that.
But why would he want to do that when he's got a kid at home?
Would he rather not race at all or race in the midfield?
I genuinely think he'd rather not race at all.
I think Max, even when he's at home, he's still racing on sims. It's like he just
exactly. So he'd spend his time doing that.
But F1's the thing is, isn't it? He knows that.
Yeah, but I think the thing is as well for someone like Max is, he does like to talk up a big game about, he's proven everything he wants to. He doesn't want to be here forever and everything like that. I understand that, but it's also very much, if I'm not in a winning machine, I don't want to be here. Which,
yeah.
The top drivers can afford to be like that. No Lando Norris, you're not included in that group, because I'm sure he thinks he is. But, I can genuinely see if Red Bull kind of fall apart this year, continue to fall apart, because the thing is for Max as well, he could very easily take that sabbatical next year, and if Aston Martin aren't there, you rip up that contract before it's even in place. And you kind of go, you weigh up your other options. Because let's be fair, once kind of the pecking order is established somewhat in 2026, if you're in Max Verstappen's shoes, you're able to talk to anybody, aren't you? You're able to put yourself in a situation where you're in one of the best cars.
Yeah.
It might well be that you take a year out to give yourself 5 years of more competitive machinery. And I think that's a sacrifice that he would take.
Yeah, I guess... Yeah, to be fair, if 2026 comes around, maybe other than Ferrari, he could probably work himself into any team. But maybe even Ferrari,
McLaren,
to be honest.
He would be opposed to. I can't... Ferrari couldn't. The contract...
But then Lewis's contract only have a year left at that point. If you're talking about
but the buyout on that would be... The whole point for Ferrari getting Lewis in is that's a project after Formula 1 as well.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, so maybe...
I think apart from Ferrari and maybe McLaren... You're going to struggle. You're not going to struggle to get talks with basically
so I guess the issue
else.
is, say he takes a tobacco in 26, and then 26 order is established, and it happens to be McLaren, Ferrari, big gap, everyone else. Then he's just in the same boat, and he's wasted a year. So,
can we see that happening though? Can you see McLaren coming straight back in with the new regs?
Supposedly,
obviously,
the
because
Ferrari
there'll still be
engine,
Mercedes power units.
The Ferrari power unit's not doing great by the sounds, and neither is the Ford, and neither is the Audi.
Apparently, Mercedes have got the engine right now.
Yes.
But they will make sure that that engine suits their car more than anybody else.
They will. Could it be Alpine's time? Pierre Gasly world champion.
Well, with the Mercedes power unit.
With the Mercedes power unit.
I mean, to
They've
be
got
fair,
an
people
alright
have already
car.
spoke about that. Exactly. The chassis on that car at the moment is not bad going. Like,
And there
I'm
would be
looking at the
There'd be
standings
4
right
Mercedes teams?
now.
I guess
because Aston Martin
I'd
are
kind
going,
of
aren't
back James Vowles Williams and Adrian Newey's Aston Martin over Flavio Briatore's Alpine, to be honest.
There is an element there, yes.
Yeah. Could it be Alex Albon getting race wins in 26 in the Williams? We'll see. I hope it's not just a Mercedes whitewash, because I don't want to see George Russell lifting a championship. But I'd rather see that than Lando
Really?
Norris. So
I was going to say, do you mind George winning the title so much?
I don't dislike it, but it would be a shame if he just dominates.
Have you seen his comments
Yes.
that came up with a couple of
We
days
need to
ago?
talk
If he
about that.
joined Mercedes a couple of years ago, he would have had 2 world championships. Like
Yeah.
where does he honestly think that would have come from?
Yeah. And this is talking about like 20-year-old George Russell, who lost to Robert Kubica, would have beaten.
Yeah,
Lewis
but that
Hamilton.
comes with a huge asterisk, doesn't it? Let's be fair.
It does, but he didn't comfortably pocket Kubica, did he?
He did. He was. I think their qualifying average over the course of that year was 0.8 of a second.
Oh, fair, okay.
He was
But even
comfortably
so,
better than Kubica
against
all year.
Prime Lewis winning 7 titles.
Exactly, and let's be fair as well. Like, you might be looking at there going, Lewis, didn't do that great in 19 or 20. They're going, he didn't have to, and 2020
Yeah.
he still did phenomenally. Like
Yeah.
2019, he just, it was kind of that. I got to win this title to make sure I win the 7th next year, wasn't it?
Yeah, keep on keeping him at arm's length, basically, and keep on saying our
Exactly.
car's terrible. That was annoying.
He does what Lando does right now, isn't it?
Exactly. I've got one more thing to add on this George and Max swap, because we were saying,
Okay.
in terms of the other way around, would Russell go to Red Bull if they were there for the taking? I don't know if he'd be Red Bull's first choice unless it was forced on them. When you have got the likes of Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, could Carlos come out of nowhere? Because they already have said basically they regret not signing him for this year. Could they just snap him up out of Williams?
But
And then
then you think,
Where does George go?
Yeah, exactly. I can't, because George can't go back to Williams, surely.
No chance. But I guess the thing, I mean, you could put Antonelli back there. Russell Verstappen. Dream team.
No, you're not going to get rid of Antonelli. You're not going to drop Lewis to get Antonelli in to then
There's
get
no
rid of
chance.
Antonelli.
Yeah,
The thing
there's
is,
no chance that Max and George would share a team anyway.
no, exactly. And I this is why I think that George has been very strategic with having that fallout last year and things like that with him as well.
I watched that back, his little interview. It seems so like AI speaking out of his mouth. It's so funny.
I still think he had a fair point, and I think he
well,
timed
yeah.
it very, very well to
He
get
did,
the
but it's
conversation out there.
it's very memeable now. in
Oh yeah,
hindsight.
exactly. I think the thing is though, you say about getting George in and getting Sainz in. Obviously, when they were looking to get Sainz in, Russell wasn't an option, and I think they're probably a similar caliber of driver.
Yeah,
but I
agree.
would say Russell is better.
And Russell is slightly younger too, isn't he?
Exactly, he's got a bit more longevity.
Russell's 27. My word, we're getting so.
Yeah, I know
old.
he's not that young in the grand scheme of things.
But Sainz is 30 now, isn't he? He's into his 30s.
I guess honestly, it could depend on where Red Bull want to do some marketing. Like, that could genuinely be the factor that comes in, whether they want to sell more Red Bull in Spain or whether they want to sell more Red Bull here.
Speaking of marketing, side note, Mexico got extended. Did you see that?
I cannot believe that. Perez is confirmed for next year.
Perez
Like,
to
surely
Cadillac.
that's what it is.
Must be. There's
I
no
cannot
way.
see a reason they would have
Or
signed it otherwise.
Esteban Gutierrez.
What is he doing with his life now, actually?
Who knows?
That's
I
an
shared a bus
intro-
with him once.
Did you?
Am I going to be really...
Apparently he's a businessman.
Am I going to be cancelled for saying Colton Herta, or is he American?
He's American.
Ah, never mind. Good.
You're thinking of
Pato Award. He's Mexican.
Pato Award, yeah.
But he won't ever make it.
That
to
would be
F1.
great if he was.
Yes, Perez to Cadillac because Mexico's here to stay until 2028. And Mexico, if there's kind of this debate about, there's too many tracks, which one would you get rid of? There's always a debate, and then you get to Mexico, and there's no debate. It should be gone.
Mexico and Imola, I'm staggered have been it. Because I always thought as well, like with Checo gone, unless they know he's coming back, I thought that's just a really easy one for them to
Yeah.
get rid of, to get somewhere else in that they want.
Exactly. I think Imola probably is going, isn't it? I saw.
Imola will be gone, I'm sure. I
think this
can't
is
see
probably the
them
last
renewing
one.
it. Unless it delivers an absolute banger this year.
Which it just
Which it
won't.
just can't.
Unless you get wet weather, well, not too
But
wet.
even
that
then,
it's
the race was
cancelled.
terrible a couple of years ago. Like, the 2023 race was so... Sorry, 2022 race was so dull.
2021 was
Anyway.
wet too, wasn't it? And that was a good race.
Yeah, I suppose. That was decent, wasn't it? I mean, it was
Especially when
great that
Hamilton
Imola
went
came
into the
back.
gravel.
Well, yeah, and then Bottas and George. Well, it was George taking out Bottas, but still. But like Imola was great to come back, but like the fact that we had Imola for 6 years and Turkey
It's
got
mad.
2 is so
Yeah.
painful.
Imola should be
Like,
in the
bring back
category of
Turkey.
Portimao and Turkey.
No, because Portimao and Turkey should be on the calendar, I think, especially Turkey.
They just don't draw the
Portimao
crowds,
is-
and F1's a lot about how much you can sell these days, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess Portugal just doesn't really have much
There's nothing around
pull,
it.
does it? Well, the problem is for obviously the Iberia coast as well is it's just motorbikes.
Yeah,
I think there's something ridiculous like 4 Spanish and 2 Portuguese Grand Prix in MotoGP in a 22 race season.
they love their bikes
There's
over there.
6 races, they really do. But it just doesn't work the same for F1. Like Barcelona will be gone, but that's already being replaced by the
I still don't
Madrid
think
ring,
that'll
whatever it's
happen.
called. It's already being built. How can you say it's not going to happen?
Hanoi was built.
Yeah, but that
I
was.
just
I
don't see
suppose
it.
Spain is not exactly known for its inability to be corrupt
Not
as
anymore.
well.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it could, couldn't it? But then you kind of think because you can't get rid of Belgium and keep Mexico.
Did you know that Las Vegas
Surely.
technically doesn't have a contract for 2026 yet?
Yeah, it's got the option, doesn't it, to renew for 10 years? But
Yeah, I just had a look at the calendar for 26, and Imola and Vegas are the 2 that aren't on there yet.
yeah, really. Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather get rid of Miami than Vegas, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
If it
I do
were
quite
me.
like Vegas.
Yeah, Miami is pretty terrible. This says about how much we like the Miami Grand Prix when our preview show is mentioning it at the start and then talking about everything
I
else.
think complaining about it a lot.
And
What they
even
should do,
the
just
other
put it
thing-
at night. A night race would be pretty good.
Yeah, but that would be like 3 in the morning for us.
It would be, but
Let's be fair, Jamie. The one thing that could save the Miami Grand Prix, which is always the special liveries, we've got 3 this year so far, and as always, Ferrari's is terrible, Sauber's is ugly, and V-Carb's is fantastic, because V-Carb, they do a good tribute livery.
they really do. And the thing is with liveries is, if you're going to go for it, you've got to go for it. Just fully send it. That's exactly what V-Carb have done.
Yep.
It's bright pink and it's banging. It's class. I love it. I do feel a bit for Ferrari because marketing, they can't just be blue out of nowhere.
They can for a weekend, though, I'm sure. Just do it properly. This is the thing I never understand, especially with HP now sponsoring them. Even if you did it more like the HP dark blue than the light blue for one weekend, you've got to be there going, if you're another sponsor, and say, for example, you throw millions of dollars at Ferrari each year, for 1 second, understand and appreciate, first of all, you get much better returns if you sponsor the podcast. Second of all, the tribute livery, look at the sponsors on the Golf livery and the McLaren in 2021. That is still talked about and remembered. You get much bigger impact by... Let's be fair, Miami's a terrible race anyway. Don't worry about it. No one's going to remember the race weekend. But people might remember your livery being on a sick blue Ferrari. Just
true.
bear that in mind. It will be worth it.
Yeah. If they smash delivery out the park, then the stock price will probably go up, if anything. Whereas this might
I'm
just
not quite
tank
sure
it.
that's how business works, Jamie, but at least it'll be remembered.
Well, yeah, it's awful. It's blocky. It doesn't suit the Ferrari at all. You've basically gone on Motorsport Manager and painted the airbox cover blue.
Yep, exactly. Which works great if you've done the Duracell battery, but nothing else. So Ferrari's is
don't
pretty
like it.
terrible. V-Carb's is banging. Sauber's, I mean, just why is this team still on the grid right now?
Sauber just
become
looks
Audi.
the same as it did before, basically.
It just looks like Shrek's had a happy accident on it. Is what it actually looks like. Am I wrong?
That's an image I didn't need to have in my head.
Am I wrong though?
It
That's the
looks
important
really
bit.
bad, but the good news is we won't see the car anyway because it's his 10th.
It's going to be a second off anybody else.
We might see
Exactly.
Bortoletto getting lapped, but that'll be...
And Hulkenberg.
Nah, Hulk will be 16th, mate.
Jamie, I've
Yeah.
just been having a look at the point standings. Can we appreciate, just quickly, that there is a 3-way tie for 11th a 3-way tie for 14th and a 4-way tie for 17th in the World Championship.
Great season, isn't it? Just turn the
Like,
table
the fact
upside
that
down.
Albon and Ocon and Stroll are the 3 that have got the margin over everybody else is insane.
And the fact that Hulk is still 12th in that car.
Yeah, he might stay there for most of the year. Well, I mean, Behrman will get him, Hadjar will get him, Sainz will get him, Tsunoda should get him. I always forget Tsunoda's still in 16th. I genuinely could see him beating out Alonso this year, which is insane.
There's no way. Alonso will pick it up at some point.
But the Aston Martin's terrible.
Yeah, but it's better than the Sauber, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Stroll's
is it
already
much
got 10
better?
points.
Yeah, I know, but he's probably won't score again this year. This is where Stroll stopped scoring in the campaign.
Well, it's already started, hasn't it? Yeah, the Sauber's rubbish. And anything else?
Quiz?
Quiz, let's do it. This, I don't know how long this might take because it depends entirely on your knowledge of niche F1.
Oh, no, not great then.
So, obviously, the Miami Grand Prix in 2024 was the first race win for Lando Norris.
Yeah.
And the last race win for Lando Norris that I was happy about. Both McLaren drivers celebrated their first wins in 2024, and they are both now on five race wins total.
Yeah.
Which is mad, but Piastri's already equaled Norris and will probably get ahead of him.
To be fair, Lando only had a 1 head start, but yeah.
Well, he should have had a plenty more head start, shouldn't he?
He should have, exactly.
There are a bunch of drivers on the F1 wins record between 5 race wins down to 2, because I've taken out all the ones because that's
right. Oh, yeah, there's Indy and things like that as well. Are a pain.
Yes. So I'm not going to give you a time limit. Think about it. You've got about there's 30 drivers, maybe 30.
30.
Maybe I'll get rid of the twos as well to make it easier.
No.
Any driver with between 5 race wins and 3
3
race
and
wins.
5 wins. Deary me.
And there are 21.
So Lando.
Correct.
Obviously Oscar.
There you go. Good start.
Carlos Sainz, I believe.
Hang on, let me keep up. My word.
I'm only on 3.
I'm already losing it at 3. Carlos Sainz is in there.
I'm going to say George Russell.
Yes, he is. Yes.
I'm going to say Sergio Perez might have more. Or is he on
answer?
5? I'm trying to think. Perez won 2 races in 23. He won a few in 22. No, he only won I'm going to say Perez has got 5 wins, I think. No, it might be 6, actually. No, it's 6. Yeah, I think it's 6.
I think it's 7. But anyway, you've not answered
is
this.
it?
That's fine. You've got 3 strikes, by the way. I meant
3 strikes. Well, I was going to say Nico Hulkenberg, but I don't think that one's right. This is really difficult because you've got to just think of like
there are actually 4 world champions in here, which might be
I was going to say there's got to be a few early world champions as well. I was going to say potentially Keke Rosberg.
Yes, he's in there.
Jochen Mass, or did he win more?
Ooh. He wasn't a world champion.
No, Jochen Rindt. Sorry,
neither of them.
Wait, Jochen Mass wasn't he?
No, Mass.
He was only posthumous.
Jochen Rindt was.
Oh, was that? No, that was Rindt. Sorry, wasn't it? Sorry, yeah, I always get two Jochens.
Neither of them are there, so there's 1 strike.
Ah, damn it. World champions. I'm trying to think. Because the problem is as well, you can remember a lot of drivers that won 1 race, and you can remember a lot of drivers that won quite a few races. But remembering the ones that only won a few.
You've got all the current grid ones.
Oh, have I? That's right then. At least I know that.
There's a weird number of them raced for Jordan. There's a little clue.
Yeah, that's what I was. You kind of got to think of those weird, like Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
Yes.
Yeah. Giancarlo Fisichella.
Yes.
Your favourite for some reason.
My favourite, exactly.
Juan Pablo Montoya, or did he win more?
Oh, I don't think he's in there. Oh no, no, he's not. There's another strike.
Ah, damn it. I think Ralf Schumacher won too many as well. I think he chalked up like 6 or 7 wins in the end. Oh man, this is so difficult. So many like just random names.
Yeah, and the annoying thing is it'll be names you've heard of as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't include the ones that have had just like one-off victories. that you remember because they were one-off
the likes of
features.
Maldonado,
Exactly. I was thinking like Maldonado, Ocon,
Gasly.
and a couple of others. Gasly as well. Man, this is so... I'm trying to think like 2000...
It's a horrible quiz
like
category.
late 2000... It's a horrible quiz category. Like late 2000.
The next most recent one is in the 90s.
Oh, Lord.
And there's a bunch in the 90s.
I'm sure there is. Gerhard Berger?
Surely he won more.
Don't think he won that many.
No, he did win more. He's not in there. That's it.
Ah, damn it.
Unlucky. I don't know how many
That
you
was
won.
terrible.
Yeah,
I think I
well,
got like 5.
it was very difficult. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The ones that you missed that you maybe could have got.
Yeah.
Johnny Herbert was in there.
Oh, of course, yeah. Stewart.
Peroni, Phil Hill.
Wouldn't have got that, I don't think.
He was a
I
champion.
don't think I would have got that, yeah.
Mike Hawthorne, one of the champions. And
Yeah.
then the one surprised me, Giuseppe Farina, the first world champion.
Yeah, but he didn't race much after that, did he?
No, he did 5 years. And there were like 2 races a season back then.
Yeah.
Regazzoni, Alboreto, Bruce McLaren, Eddie Irvine.
I know, because Farina didn't even die in
No, he didn't.
the
no.
sport, did he? Yeah.
But yes, that was incredibly difficult, I do admit. But yeah, you got 7 out of...
Honestly,
out of
I
21.
feel disappointed with that, but I probably shouldn't be as disappointed as I am.
Let us know in the comments if you thought of any that Matt didn't get.
Yeah, tell us down below whether you did better than me. I'm sure
Tell
you
us how
did.
how stupid that category was as well.
It's so easy to know like one-win wonders and then people that won lots of races.
That's why I went
trying to
for it.
remember drivers that have won a couple is so bad, so bad. Predictions, Jamie. I think that's the last thing we've got to do, isn't it?
I believe it is.
What
You
are the
are
scores on the
beating
doors?
me.
Am I?
No, you're not. I'm beating you.
I was going to
sorry.
say no.
I'm
not.
so used. I'm just conditioned at this point from last season to say that you're beating me. It's 16-11 in my favour.
Okay, so 5-point margin, but it
You
is
get
a
to
sprint
go
weekend,
first.
so there's 10 points available.
Yes,
I want to be really stupid and say Lando's going to bounce back this weekend, but I'm not sure he will because he got lucky to win the Miami race last year. I'm gonna say, do Ferrari? Could they make a step? I can't see Ferrari making a step forward.
Lewis won the last
I'm gonna
race.
say, yeah, I know he did. I can't see him winning another. You know what? Miami's a really odd circuit. It's meant to rain Sunday. We didn't mention that.
Yeah, I looked at the
Apparently,
weather.
there could be thunderstorms Sunday, which could be insane.
And Florida
I'm gonna
thunderstorms are
say-
no joke.
Exactly. I'm going to say... I'm going to be really... It's still early in the year. I can afford to throw away some points. George Russell.
Oh my word.
Sorry, George Russell for sprint win. Oscar Piastri for pole. Oscar Piastri win, because I think it'd be hilarious that he has more wins than Lando. I'm going to say Lando Norris P2. George Russell P3.
Wow. Russell's back.
Yeah,
I never really
I
went anywhere,
can
did he?
see.
I am going to say... It's actually quite hard. Because
Yeah.
just predicting a sprint winner out of nowhere with nothing to go off is a bit mad.
Well, the problem was as well with the sprint, of course, is that qualifying last time around was just a real test of pure skill. Hence why Max and Lewis were on the front row. Like Lando, and although with Oscar's getting better, neither of them are kind of prime qualifiers in top machinery. Like
Not
one
yet.
shot.
And also, setting up your car with one practice session is notoriously difficult.
Exactly.
With that in mind, I will go... Lando Norris does win the sprint.
Okay.
I would go Oscar Piastri on pole position.
Out of interest, how many sprints has Lando won?
Has he won any?
I'm trying to think whether he's actually ever won a sprint.
Max was on a run of like 8 in a row at one point, and then
Yeah. Did
obviously
he win
Lewis
one
won
at the
most
back end of
recent.
last year when we had loads in a row?
He could have. No, because Max just kept on winning them all, didn't he? Even in the races he shouldn't have won. Was Brazil not a sprint? I think Norris might have won that.
Did he? You're probably right. I don't know.
What am I on? Oh, sorry. Norris sprint winner, Piastri pole position.
So same as me.
No. Well, pole position the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen to win the race.
Oh,
from
okay.
Piastri and Norris. How about
Okay. Interesting.
that? Verstappen's going to split them and then jump on the start, and they won't be able to
You're trying to hedge your bets a little bit. So a bit like he did with... Oscar jumped in at the start, didn't he, last week? And then Max just couldn't do anything about it. Interesting. So I've gone Russell for sprint, Piastri pole, Piastri win, Norris Russell. Jamie's gone Norris for sprint, Piastri pole, Verstappen win, Piastri Norris as well. Have we got anything else to add, Jamie?
Brazil was a sprint race last year.
Did Lando Norris win it?
That's a good question.
Surely you're just better off typing in sprint wins.
Brazil's sprint winner. Right, I need to do this research. Yes, he did.
Lando Norris...
There you go.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you all, as always, so much for listening. It's been a bit of a rambly one, we must admit, but, you had a great segue at the start, so hopefully that made up for it. If you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed. What are we up to? We're up to 800 and... It's not going to load. 897 subscribers, so please consider doing so. Help us get to 1k and stop YouTube stealing all our AdSense. But yeah, Jamie and I will be back, though, early next week to review what ends up being the race that saved the Miami Grand Prix. Probably not, but we'll wait and see.